Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are watching from. You are welcome to Prince Mass Clinic, and today we'll be talking about trigonometry from a very unique angle. Now, you can see on the board our fingers from 0 to 90. So now, you take this finger as 0, right? This is 30 degrees. This is 45, this is 60, and this is 90, right? Good. So let's pick our special angles. Now let's assume that you want to find out what sine 0 degrees is. Now, from the formula I stated on the board, I said the square root of the fingers below over 2. Now, looking at 0, do we have any finger below? No, right? So that means that my sine 0 will be square root of 0 divided by 2. And we know that square root of 0 will give you what? 0 over 2. And 0 over 2 gives you what? 0. So you can confirm that from your calculator, pressing what? Sine of 0. You get what? 0. Then let's move on. Sine 30 degrees. Now, this is 30 degrees. Now, this is 30. How many fingers do you have below? You have just one finger below, right? Good. So that means that my sine 30 will be square root of 1 over 2. And square root of 1 gives you what? 1 over 2. So it means that the sine of 30 degrees is what? 1 over 2. Then you move on to 45. Now, this is 45, the middle finger, right? How many fingers do we have below it? 2 fingers, right? Good. So, that becomes what? It means that my sine 45 degrees will be what? Square root of 2 over 2. Then, when you move further, what? 60 degrees. Sine 60 degrees will give you what? 3 fingers that are what? Below. So, that means that what? Sine 60 degrees will be what? Square root of what? 3 over what? 2. Because we have 3 fingers that are below it. Then we now go to sine of 90 degrees. Let's look at 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees. So we have how many fingers below it? 4. So this becomes what? Sine of 4. Sorry, square root of 4 divided by 2. And square root of 4, we know it is what? 2. 2 over 2 gives you what? 1. So if you count your calculator, sine of 90 degrees should give you what? 1. Alright. Having done that, let's move on to cosine of angles. So let's start with cosine of 0 degrees. Now the formula says square root of fingers above. So this is our 0. So how many fingers do we have? Above 4. So this becomes square root of 4 divided by 2. Square root of 4 is what? 2. And 2 over 2 is what? 1. Then you go to cosine of 30 degrees. How many fingers do you have above 30? You have what? 3 fingers, right? That's square root of 3 divided by 2. Then move on to 45. How many fingers do you have with 45? 45, remember, is the middle finger. You have just 2 fingers, right? So that is what? Square root of what? 2 over 2. Then you pick cosine of 60 degrees. 60 degrees, just 1 finger above it, right? So that's square root of 1 over 2. That's square root of 1 over 2. Square root of 1 we know is what? 1 over 2. Then you have cosine of 90 degrees. So we don't have any finger above this, so that becomes square root of 0 over 2. Square root of 0 is 0, and 0 over 2 gives us what? 0. Now, if you pay close attention, you will find out that the result we obtain for cosine 90 is the same result we obtain for sine 0. So if you are to design a relationship, it means that the value for sine 0 and cosine 90 are the same. The value for cosine 60 and sine 30 are the same because they are complementary. Now, the value for cosine 45 and 45 are the same. Then the value for cosine 30 and sine 60 are the same. And the value for cosine 0 and sine 90 are the same. Now, similarly, if you are to get a value for what? Tan theta is simply the square root of the number of fingers below over the square root of the fingers above. So let's just take one or two examples. Let's look at tan 30 and tan 45 degrees. So looking at 30, this is 30, right? So how many fingers are below that? 1. How many fingers are above it? 3. Remember, 1 over 3. That becomes square root of 1 over square root of 3. Square root of 1 gives you what? 1. Square root of 3 gives you what? 3. But when you rationalize this, you are going to get root of 3 over 3. Good. Then we'll move on to tan of 45. Remember, it's the middle finger, right? Good. How many fingers do you have below it? 2. How many do you have above it? 2. So it means that tan 45 is square root of 2 over square root of 2. So square root of 2 cancels square root of 2. You have 1. So it means that tan of 45 is going to give you what? 1. Right? Good. So that brings us to the end of today's video. And subsequent class, we are going to see how we can apply all of this in solving questions from the white and the JAMB question. Thank you. Please hit the subscribe button and invite your friends as well. Thank you very much.